I think we have to start with news that obviously broke some 10 days ago now, and that was the deal with Iran, the so-called nuclear agreement. Iran has been given a license to kill, as many have said, including Israel. Israel said this is a historic mistake for the entire world. Gary Kah, let's start there, and then we're going to move on to these other issues that I outlined in my introduction. John Kerry, I believe, is delusional, as are many on the left. John Kerry says the U.S. got the good deal that we sought. Your thoughts on this?
Well, if it was up to me, there never would have been any negotiations with Iran because it's a terrorist state. And about once a month, literally about once a month, one of their leaders calls for the complete annihilation of Israel. So what in the world are we doing negotiating with a terrorist state that is sponsoring terror around the world? But if you are going to negotiate and you spend a couple of years doing it, you at least want to come away with something significant. But in this case, Iran pretty much got everything they wanted. Plus, they were able to continue with their nuclear program along the way over these last couple of years during these negotiations. So they're closer than ever to gaining their nuclear capacity. And if they do, they are the power most likely to use that capacity against Israel and possibly against the United States. I'm with Benjamin Netanyahu on this. I think the whole thing is a huge mistake. And unfortunately, I think it's going to provoke Israel to have to do something on its own. And I don't know how soon that will happen. Only God knows. But I kind of expect something within the next year or so that Israel will take some kind of action against Iran.
Absolutely.
I'd be surprised if they don't.
Absolutely. Iran proudly aired Barack Obama's speech to show the world of terror that the leader of the free world is on the side of terror, not just on the side of Islam, but on the side of terror.
You know, Jan, you would think with President Obama's Islamic background that he would know what kitman and taqiyya are. And those are two terms within Islam about the deception and lying is the best word that you do with the infidel for the cause of Islam. If Allah is being forwarded and Islam is being favored, if you lie about it, it's fine. That's part of Islam. That's exactly what's going on here. And, you know, to watch John Kerry with these folks at the bargaining table was more than I could handle, because this is just kitman and taqiyya in action as they lie and as they deceive. And we seem to smile and see nothing wrong with it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the left is setting up Armageddon for the world. I mean, they are committed to tyranny. They're committed to propping up the worst of the worst. They're supportive of every terror outfit on Earth, and if they could support terror organizations on other planets, I believe they would. I do not know how the left has gone so totally out of control, but they are. The problem is that Iran can do in 12 minutes to Israel what it took Hitler almost 12 years to try to do, and partially succeeded.
Jan, to me, it is stunning that we have people who claim to be Christians out there who see nothing wrong with what the left is up to. I mean, whose side are we on? We have to make a decision. Are we going to stand on God's side, or are we going to decide to stand on the side of those who want to destroy God's chosen people? It is stunning to me.
Part of what is happening is so many people, naive these days, don't see the end result down the road. They don't realize where all of this is headed. They're just loosely in favor of world peace and world unity, and they actually buy into the possibility of that occurring through these negotiations. They don't understand that the more chaos there is in the Middle East, the more terrorism there is around the world, the more the stage will be set to ultimately bring about this global government that is coming in the name of world peace, to bring in world peace. What's happening in the Middle East right now is friction on every front. You even have ISIS at odds with Hamas. You've got Iran in the mix. You have at least 3 or 4 evil Islamic radical groups even contending with each other for supremacy. And in the mix, thousands of people are dying in the Middle East.
That's right.
And the only thing they really have in common is a common hatred for Israel as well as the United States. And so at some point, this is going to come to a head. When that happens, there will be a significant bloodletting in the Middle East, even way beyond what we're seeing now. On the heels of such a conflict, the world, being naive as it is, will be prepared to buy into a proposal for world peace that includes some type of global government, and they will think that's the answer to the problem. This is the stage that Satan is very cleverly shaping.
Well, Gary Kah, and that's who I'm talking to for the hour, and you can learn more at GaryKah.org. You've kind of set up, and I was going to ask you, because very often you will come on this program and you'll talk about the fact that the world needs a major crisis that's going to kick global government into reality. And we're going to talk about some other potential global crises here in the coming few minutes, but surely the stage has been set even more here back on, again, July 14th, when this treaty between, it's the P5+1. It's not just America. And guys, I would expect Russia and China to be as delusional as the current administration in Washington. But I am a little surprised. I believe France and Germany went along with this. Angela Merkel should know better. I mean, her country has been in the crosshairs of 2 world wars, and now she's going along with setting up a deal that's going to possibly ignite not just the Middle East, but Iranian nukes can touch into Western Europe in a nanosecond, and yet France and Germany are a part of this deal.
It's almost unbelievable. So many of the leaders of Western Europe, along with Barack Obama, are globalists, and they see the world getting smaller and that the United Nations needs to be empowered and that there needs to be some form of global government. And you wonder, in the backs of their minds, do they see the tension that this is going to create? Will it lead us closer toward world government? In other words, are they making this decision intentionally to try to create a world crisis, or are they, like many of the world people, simply naive? And I think only the Lord knows their hearts to that degree. But either way, the stage is being set. While I hate to set dates, I would be absolutely stunned if within the next couple of years, between now and the election maybe shortly afterwards, if something huge doesn't happen in the Middle East because of the tension. You know, a year ago, ISIS was just revving up.
Right.
And look at how far things have come. And now we've got over 1,000, possibly a couple thousand loyalists to ISIS in the United States getting ready to lunge forward. Recently, you had the son of a police captain in Massachusetts arrested for planning a major act of terror in the Northeast. And this was the son of a captain that was involved in rounding up the 2 young terrorists, you know, that caused the Boston Marathon bombings, and here his own son being involved in it. So we've got the enemy within now, and I truly am surprised that nothing bigger has happened thus far. I think the Lord has been very merciful, not allowing anything to occur yet, but I think he's being tested to the extreme when you look at the behavior of America on some of the moral issues recently, and just on almost every front. It seems like we're losing control, and the church is throwing in the towel and not standing where it needs to stand anymore on many of the issues.